Morning, Capricorns. If you want to come on in, have a seat for some symbolic support. Have here a scroll made in your name and essence. If you want to take a screenshot, to scry on your own time and terms for shapes or symbols that speak. I'm going to dig in here, Capricorns, and let's see what's going on in your aura, in your energies. Thank you for holding space for me to share my insights as always. Okay, so I'm seeing like right in here, there is, what I'm sensing is like a crystal, but this crystal has consciousness and a face. Could be a spirit guide, somebody in spirit, but I'm seeing it as a crystal. Maybe you're a crystal child, maybe there's a particular crystal you're working with lately, or crystal energies being added to your aura and environment. There's also strong boundaries, but these boundaries are broken into, and I don't mean broken, but very root. So root, sacral. At the solar plex, they switch, and then they're all up in the higher chakras and beyond. Okay, so imagine if there's like a bottle stopper between the two worlds. Okay, Capricorns, this is how the story goes, or at least this is what I'm seeing, sensing, and feeling. So between the two worlds, if I may, or the two boundaries, there's this crystal bottle stopper. And it's, again, it's like this weird terminology of broken stopper, but it's positive in nature. It's almost as if I'm seeing a water bottle, but it has one of those crystals in it. So it's not necessarily about stopping, it's changing the frequency or pausing in this bottleneck that isn't restrictive in its traditional way, if that makes sense. Again, it's these negative terms, but they're being utilized to their best efficiency positively. And this bottle stopper, no matter which way I turn it, if it's, upside down hangman style, it's like the sands of contemplation, or consciousness, contemplations, connections, anything along that lines, ideas, influence, inspiration. It's coming into this bottleneck in a positive way for it to upgrade through this crystal energy and then filter down to either the root, or the root area, the more earthly experiences, or up into the higher mind, higher heart, etc. They both go out towards the aura space, which has boundaries, which is telling me someone has, or perhaps I'll stay in the Capricorn collective, broad, bountiful, and brutal boundaries. Again, brutal being a good thing, like a brute force. They are there. And when they come into this solar plexus, seems to be the space in which the bottleneck, if I may, like the throat. I'm seeing the throat in the solar plexus. There's just a different communication, and when things spread out. Okay, so that's stuff coming in, Capricorns. And then on the flip side, from this solar plexus bottleneck positive, when things go out, it's like from the ground up, higher mind down, it spreads out beyond you. So it's almost like I can see somebody walking around and people are attracted to you for no reason at all. Like you're just minding your business, being a Capricorn, and people kind of, what's that? They're attracted to it for some reason. Like you'll be the person in a parking lot that somebody comes to talk to, or you just notice people looking at you. And I'm not sure, it's like their soul turns and looks at you, but they're not aware of it. Unconsciously, they're not aware that they might be watching you. I'm also seeing the evil queen. Again, this isn't a bad thing. It feels very interesting. This all feels very like these typical terminologies, and I'm being flipped around because there's a transmutation going on. The Capricorn collective is gaining a hold in the aura to see what's being thrown at them, interacting with, right, either which way, and being able to transmute it. So this evil queen or king has a positive position. Does that make sense? And there's bats flying around her head. And she's in this power position, almost like the bottle stopper. So I'm seeing like the Wizard of Oz, the Wicked Witch of the West, and then I can't remember the other one. It's funny how the more softer, sweet, it seems to be less memorable in this moment, but that's okay. And say the non-wicked witch of the East. And no matter which way I turn this, I see one or the other, because they're both working for the same channel, protecting, promoting, pursuing the in and the out, the expansion, the internalizing, the externalizing. Does that make sense, Capricorns? There's a breathing here. I'm seeing a house. I'm up in the attic. Some of you might understand this symbolically if your home or space doesn't have an attic space. I'm seeing somebody in an apartment building where the people above them, there's something could be going on up there. Again, I'm seeing that bottle stopper, but being put to good use to say if the people above you, or if you're in like a duplex or something like that, and they're being bothersome, perhaps be implementing something so that the energy isn't draining down to you. This externalizing for you to, it's almost like they're dumping it and you can stop it. Maybe with a crystal or that intention, this, that, or the other. I'm also seeing a barn. Okay, there's something about what goes on in the barn, Capricorns. So there's home spaces. And sorry, if I go back, bear with me. Sorry, not sorry. If it's your home, there could be something up in the attic, like going through memories, stuff that's been stored away. And there's something about going through it, reflecting, releasing, or holding, and doing that very consciously. There's also some that have a spirit in their attic that is very protective in nature, and that just seems to be kind of like their home base. Okay, so I'm back to the barn. Thank you. So apartment, home to barn. All of these structures are root chakra and sacral in nature, right? They're stability, family, work, this, that, or the other, very earthly expressions, but they have different functions. Sizes being indifferent, it's almost like they're symbolic spaces. In your home, in your apartment, you might have very traditional rooms, but then there's this one room that's your office or it's your workspace, and it becomes like this barn, and different things are created in a barn. It's this very mechanical, creative, utilitarian kind of feel. And I'm seeing a nesting dolls of this concept of that space of the root and sacral space for the Capricorn collective in the auric field of your energy bodies. So it's like a barn with a house, with an apartment, with a room, with a closet. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so I'm gonna continue to move on here, Capricorns, and we'll see what comes through as we flip it to win it. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll start adding on some tarot and oracle as well. Links below to help a gal grow. If you want to donate, fully grateful for that, or request, be my muse and request your own Rorschach. seeing an ant farm. Sands of time. There's something about time. Even this, I think it's sand in an ant farm, but it's like making waves and these channels. And something's moving through these channels, Capricorn. Whatever it is, like in the collective energy of Capricorns, every ant is working towards something, moving one grain of sand, or leading but not leading, working together for the whole farm. Like it's a frequency farm. That's what that feels like, a frequency farm. There's guardians. There are Leo-like creatures. You might be working with the Leo energy, or Leo's been called in to almost like gargoyles, to hold a particular stance while this work is being done in this frequency farm. There's other signs here, Leo being one of them, and another one stepping forward, but it hasn't quite revealed itself, so I'll let it be. Oh, now I'm curious, so I'm like digging in to see if it will reveal itself. Okay, that's fine. It might be Gemini. The side of my house is squeaking. Or Sagittarius, because I'm seeing like a whip, getting a whip into shape. It feels more fiery, whipping into shape, something about these frequencies. And they're not clashing, they're working together, like making this spark. And whatever the Capricorn energy is doing, like there's support there. And maybe that's in regards to your, sun, moon, rising, this, that, or the other. We have Tiger and Tarantula that have come through with will and connection. And that's what we were just talking about, this over here. The whips of this fire. It's covering you. Like I can see all these, see how it's like this netting around the blueprint of your body. Like I can see it lit up. Capricorns, do you feel that? Do you feel like lit up this whole, as if you could take, no, that doesn't work. I'm not sure how to say that. Okay, so some might feel like a fish caught in a net. That's the Piscean energy that was coming through, just as an analogy. Thank you. 4 plus 3 is 5. So there's this netting around you that I'm seeing lit up like a grid, as though like the blueprint or the sewing pattern. Some might feel like they're caught in a net, like a fish caught in a net. And there's an escape to, again, it's not in the negative sense, it's this escape to reach the connections, to tie into the collective aura for this farming frequency that is positive. It's not being farmed to overproduce or overconsume. Okay. And then there's Capricorns that it's almost like in this ant farm, it's allowing other Capricorns and other signs to tap into it if need be. If the will is there, Tiger is there. Brings me back into the Leo. The willpower needed to work on this through the Capricorn collective. And you can, of course, apply this to any channel in your life that you are internalizing, externalizing, right? Is up to you, because in a compassionate but disconnected way, it doesn't matter because they're all valuable. You've decided to hold people, places, and things in particular positions and work with them. And then I come into the horse for freedom and moderation, rhinoceros. And this makes me feel like I'm bringing, okay, that horsey, unicorny thing I was seeing earlier. Sagittarius. Okay, so that's why it's a mixture of the fire of the rhino. This fiercity is being freed. There's frequencies in the Capricorn collective that are being freed for others to enjoy, add to, but not over consume. It's almost like there's a little bit of a trap in that bottleneck, and it's not a trap in a nasty way, but there's a responsibility. And if you over tap into this, as the Capricorn collective is working with it, that bottle stopper will come in a positive way, and not cut off, but just simply hold that boundary and offer another opportunity to reflect. If you are receiving, what are you returning in reciprocity? I really feel like this has something to do and is reflective in life, of course. This is wandering around the auric space. We're going there. All right, Capricorns, I'm going to continue on. Thank you so much, as always. And we'll see what else is going on here. There's also something about in the moderation brings into that consuming accordingly. It's almost like if you as a Capricorn, or notice people, places, or things, energies around you that are over consuming your life force. First of all, you're in charge of the bottle stopper, is what I'm hearing. But at the same time, if it's you, be just offering yourself that same bottle stopper pause and go, oh, moderation. Okay. Too much fire will burn, right? Too much water will cool the fire. But very deep connections are being made. 7 of Cups has come through. Okay, so just like in this connection of Tarantula, I don't know if the lighting will allow it to come through. See all the webbing around the head? Webbing around the head. I almost want to say, like, Capricorns, I as well being a Capricorn, so I feel there's, or at least I'll hold that safe space for me to say, and it's like multiple personalities, and it's like spinning the wheel of which version. And this might feel inauthentic to some, to say, well, how come you're with that if somebody is observing, or perhaps you're observing yourself and you're like, well, you're like that with them, and your work people, your home people, your soccer people, this, that, or the other. And it's actually very authentic. It's like utilizing this alchemy of archetypes that is of best use. They all have a connection to the source, soul space, the evil queen or non-evil queen. I really don't know why I can't, like, the good witch and the bad witch, but that polarity doesn't feel well when I say that. But hopefully you understand, Capricorns. It's this ability to harness all pieces of your archetypes in different degrees in whatever context you're in. So you're not overgiving. Everything's in moderation. All the archetypes are being utilized in moderation to whatever degree they suit to serve. The sun, yes. Sorry, these cards might be upside down. Did it come through? In that moderation rhinoceros, it's almost as if you can imagine the sun rays, Capricorns, and whatever you decide, solar plexus, to apply your attention and awareness to. Moderations, maybe time spent in there. And this whole scroll, your ink blot, has that feeling of like one of those sand timery things. So there's something about maybe moderating your time in different compartments, even of your mind, so that you don't get tied up in something if you're feeling constipated or blocked about something. It's like if you get blocked about something, I see the sun shift and suddenly, oh, I'm over here. It's like I started thinking about this at sunrise and now it's midday. It shifted. Maybe walk away. appease another part of your personality or responsibilities, and it could help. Yes, the Chariot, total Chariot vibes when the sun came out as well with a helicopter for me, which typically doesn't always happen, but the Chariot's coming in with the horse, freedom. There's this feeling when I was talking about the frequency farm before, so thank you. This is very wise in this whole reflective space. The Capricorn collective is harnessing, creating this ant farm of frequencies, this upgrade, right? But there might be some that are feeling in some context, in some boundary of this clear glass, you're stuck in somebody else's frequency farm. But I'm not going to follow blaming that, because as a Capricorn, I'm going to hold my responsibility and my discipline to be like, I decided, likable or not, I decided to interact with it. I wanted to see, where it would go, or I was curious, or, naivete led me in. Okay, so now I want to get out of this frequency farm. And it's almost like I'm being lovingly supported by the Capricorn collective. It's like this awareness lights up, say if you're feeling that way, and your fellow Capricorn collective with the lions at the top and the tigers, lions and tigers and bears on my, are saying, we hear you, so this is where we are, feel us. And you can start to, like, I'm seeing it as a crawl on the earth, because it's the goat feeling that will help reconnect you. Even like one point in the sky, one point in your mind will connect you into your collective. And then things can slowly, it doesn't have to be slow, it's just how it's feeling to me, to get rid of the sluggish out, because you're tuning into moderately, not in a I'm thirsty. But somebody might feel like they've been in a desert for a while. Oh, Capricorns, I hope this makes sense. I'm not sure. I feel like I'm all over the place. Two of Swords. Yeah, I feel like I'm all over the place. So if you're part of the collective that is feeling like that Piscean, the fish in a net feel, undecided. Am I good or am I evil? Am I happy? Am I sad? Am I this or am I that? The tiger comes flying back in, and I feel like this is your collective energy. And I really want to see if see that deity in the back there? That's your collective. It's also your spirit. Remember when we were talking about the spirit at the beginning of the house in the attic, spirit guide? And there's yellow on there. Again, solar plexus. Something about the solar plexus. I'm seeing a lighthouse. The strength to send a signal out to your other collective. Now, even if this collective devil, yes, this is you. And there's yellow in there as well. Lots and lots of solar plexus stuff going on. Capricorns, there's this beauty and this ability to sever and cut off with the Two of Swords what does not serve. And it's not in an angst to say it's because your value has been diminished. Like, it's almost like I can see a Capricorn having a conversation with the people, places, or things, or a concept, and even just acknowledging and saying, this isn't working out. But because there's a journey and so much reflection about it, there's this draw to like off with their heads and just cut it off cold clean. And though that is, the Capricorn, this is the way. Mandalorian, this is the way. It's not the only way. there is a more compassionate way to do it, I think, also for you, so that when you are released from this net and you tune into your collective for support, that's what you're adding. Compassion without being drawn back in. All right. Does that make sense? I'm not sure if that blurbage came out in a smooth criminal kind of way, but there it is. There's definitely flight being taken. The flying tiger, the chariot, the sun with the helicopter. Something about the thoughts, really being mindful of when you're meandering your multiverse of the mind and looking at all the different, it's not about analyzing to a degree that you get caught in a net again. It's almost like I can see you tuning into it. You know, just tuning into like really airy ideas and then deciding what you're going to draw closer and connect into. Like connect the dots. And before, you know, if you're at this dot, you're like, well, before I commit to that one and draw the line, draw it, I'm going to envision it. What are the possibilities if I go to that dot, that dot, that dot? It's all very symbolic in nature, of course. Okay, Capricorn, so getting ready to close out here. Dreams, incubation. Something about your sleep state. Tarot guidance is coming through. And Shagai, fragmented. The worst is behind you. These fossils, fragments, it reminds me of the attic that I was talking about before. It's almost like I can see if you're going through this attic, symbolically speaking, or things in the mind, this, that, or the other, these reminiscences, these pieces of your past, these potentials for the future, the inspirations. If you decide to release and donate, if you decide to cleanse and, you know, let them go, then there's also might be pieces of something that you take and create something new out of it. So, like the bones here as an example, perhaps you have pieces of things and you decide to make a necklace and make a talisman of something, some sort of sigil or decoration. I'm seeing one of those people I'm sure there's many people, they have a bunch of t-shirts or something and then they make one big quilt out of it. It's like taking many things and making one thing. Yes. For those who have people upstairs in their apartment building, this, that, or the other, I don't know if every so often, you just really need to, kind of put that boundary up there. I'm feeling it more as in like an energy thing versus perhaps actual disruptions, but maybe just sometimes you can feel more than meets the eye. And this doesn't have to be in an actual apartment, but it could also be in just the channels that you're working in. Maybe you work at a place that are very busy, maybe a restaurant or something like that. Like there's one table that you might be at, but there's many tables around you. So I'm saying, and they influence you. Like you just want to quietly have your dinner or your lunch. These people are having a great time and they're laughing and they're loud. Maybe there's people with kids over here. You see what I'm saying? I don't know. Something about being guided and in your dreams, which brings me up in and about to the tiger space as well. And with you blatantly showing up, there could be lucid dreaming going on, Capricorn. Lucid dreaming, considering lucid dreaming. This could also be the attic of your awareness, I just heard. Wandering that creative expression a little bit differently. And moving through things in the subcon state. There's also, and there could be spirits up there as well. There's healing going on in the sleep state. Something's evolving. The thread, there's that sewing analogy. The thread. Patterning, threading all your archetypes together, and the venom. I really want to put these two together. This is that feeling right from the beginning of your ink blot in your scroll. The evil queen, the good queen, the bottle stopper is positive. The bottleneck being tight serves purpose to decide and discern. Is this adding healing or is this venom? As you breathe this in and out, internalize, externalize, esoteric, exoteric, good, bad. Do I stay or should I go? And there's a thread in between that connects it all, whatever you decide. But like the Seven of Cups and the tarantula, creating a web of your connections, I kind of just want to say, like, remember your collective. Remember your collective. The red string of connection to all that is. And if you're feeling in a void of the sands of time just, dumping on you, this connection, this thread brings you up to your rainbow. Even if it's in your awareness to say, oh yeah, that's right. I have a whole collective I can tune into moderately, not in a codependent way and not in a needy way and not in a weak way. This is a strength. This is a superpower I have as a Capricorn, that I have a whole collective, this whole ant farm that is farming this higher frequency to help lift and strengthen others to do it themselves. And I just heard that song, I got the power. Okay, Capricorns, I'm going to leave that there. I hope this serves you well. Thank you for joining me for this story, exploring your aura. Like I said, if you want your own Rorschach in a reading, the links are below. Feel free to donate, buy me a coffee, ghost juice, PayPal, all that kind of good stuff. And I fully am grateful. And until next time, thanks.